Hello everyone, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can expose C++ nodes inside your Blueprint function. So let's go. And here I'm gonna create a blank project, literally nothing, and I'm gonna name it CPP to PP, doesn't matter. So Blueprint only, and you can see the settings here. I'm gonna skip it and let it create itself. And there are two ways how you can expose C++ functions inside blueprints. So you can expose it directly inside your project, and you can also expose it by using plugins. And in this particular video, I'm going to show you how you can expose it by using plugins. And why plugins? Well, because you might want to use this for different projects, not just for only one project. And let's go create another plugin, new plugin. And now you can see a little problem that we're going to fix in a bit. So when I click on new plugin, this allows me to only create content only plugin, and that's not enough. So I need to have here Blueprint function library as an option. And in order to have it, I first have to create new C++ class. And let's pick none, it doesn't matter. And let's rename this to something more funny. Ma dummy class. Funny name, isn't it? Doesn't really matter, but because it's, well, as the label says, just a dummy class. And I'm gonna give it some time to recompile itself. So what we are now doing is we are converting the project from Blueprint only to C++ compile project. That's why we had to add a new C++ class. And let's give it a couple more seconds. And well, of course, this compiling process depends on your system hardware. And in my case, it's fairly fast. Didn't take me too much time. And okay, so we have the base set up now. And now let's actually have a look at what we are gonna expose. And for this tutorial, I chose this plugin. I'm pretty sure that this is freely available, SSZ file functions, or actually it's called SSZ Community Edition plugin. I think you can find it for free on Marketplace. I'm definitely sure that you can find it free. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making a video with it. Anyway, so here we have our header file and CPP file. This one is declaration and this one is definition or implementation. Anyway, the two functions that I'm gonna show you how you can expose are these two. I love them. I use them like very often. So load string from file and save string from file. I think that these labels are very self-explanatory what these functions are actually doing. So let's not waste our time and proceed. Okay, going back to Visual Studio. I'm gonna close the project now. Why? Because I want to create the I want to actually now create the plugin. And in this case, I don't have to close the project, but just Visual Studio. Anyway, I'm gonna open the plugins tab. And now when I click on new plugin, as you can see here, now it gives me more options. And now I can select Blueprint library, which is exactly what I need. And I'm gonna call it Valsugard library. Doesn't matter. And well, I mean, it would matter if you want to be clean and nice and all of that, and you can fill in more details here, but that can be changed afterwards. So I'm not gonna waste our time, and I'm gonna click on create plugin, and it's gonna recompile again. and I gotta give it a couple more seconds. And as you can see, luckily it's fairly quick on my system, but it can take some time on other systems or when you have a bunch of code. Anyway, so Visual Studio is open again. And well, where are my classes? Where is my plugin? On the right side, we can find something that is called Solution Explorer, and this is the base of our project. This is the root folder, and if you click on plugins, you can see now Valsugar library. That's the name of the plugin that I've created here. You can find it here, and so we have plugins and Valsugar library, and inside of that we have resources. This is where you keep your icon, but doesn't matter. Let's focus on source. Inside the source folder, we have another same named folder. Inside that we have private and public. Let's expand this a little bit. So we have in private folder, we have CPP files, and in public folder, we have .h or header files. And let's open BP library. So we need that one, and we need header file. And we don't need this one, so we can close it and we can expand this like this so that we have more space. Okay, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna open these files in Visual Studio. I mean, you don't have to, but I can keep it like this or open it inside the Visual Studio, and give me just a few seconds. So I need this file here, and I'm gonna move it like this so that I have CPP and CPP on one side and .h on the other side. And let me find the other file, which would be .h. Come on, thank you. All right, and we are aligned. Okay, so now I can shrink this in order to have more space. Okay, let's proceed. I'm gonna start with the CPP, which is the implementation of the function. And we have a bunch of code here on the right side, actually about 160 strings. And well, let's find our function. The first one that I want to implement is load string from file, and here it is. It starts with the string number 42. And then after this one is implemented, I'm gonna show you as well how to implement save string from file. Sorry, I meant to say save string to file. So we are gonna have load and save. Okay. So here is our function, and I'm gonna copy this with these curly brackets from start to finish. And here you can see the whole code here. And I'm gonna now transfer that to Valsugar library bp library.cpp file. Anyway, that's the cpp file. And I'm literally gonna just control V. So yes, it is simple as it is, but we gotta change a couple things in a bit. And let's leave it as it is right now. And let's go now to .h file. And so since we are dealing with load string from file, we have to find its declaration on the left side, and load string from file. Here it is. So strings number 23 and number 24, like that. Okay. So I can right click and copy or just control and C. And now we are gonna paste that inside .h file, and we're gonna do it inside this field. So I'm not going into details because I don't know how some of the things are working, but the results matter. And after leaving some strings empty, I'm gonna Control V to paste, and I can save the file now, and it's gonna take some time. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so now we gotta fix one thing, and as you can see, we already have, when we create our blueprint function library, we already get provided by this sample function. It's literally called the name of your plugin and then sample function. Okay. And as you can see, it says U Valsogard library BP library. However, here when I copy paste it, you can see that this starts with the original name. So that's the thing that we have to change. So what I'm gonna do is literally copy that and paste it over here, and Control S to save the file. And I can now compile the project, but I'm gonna close it here so that I can compile it from here. Hopefully there are gonna be no errors. Seems that all is fine. And while that is loading, I'm gonna go inside the project's root folder. Okay, the project is open, and now I should have my nodes exposed. And let's see, I'm gonna create a new blueprint actor class, and I'm gonna name it testing, I would say. And I'm gonna put it inside the world, and I'm gonna open it. Okay, so event graph, and let's try to find our function load string from file, and here it is indeed. Okay, and I'm gonna test and see if it's working. So we have files directory, file name, and string that it is loading. And let's set up some test files so that we can actually test this function and see if it's working. So inside the main folder of the project, and I'm gonna create a new text file and call it panda.txt. I like pandas. I mean, I always use panda for tutorials. Anyway, you can literally create this file anywhere, and I've intentionally created this inside the project's root folder. Why? Because we have one handy node, which is get project directory, like that, and I can use it. So this is going to give me the absolute location of this project's root folder, to be precise. And I can connect these execution pins, and save directory is going to be like this. And now file name is going to be panda.txt. Compile, save, and in order to test things, I'm gonna use print string, because why not? What else would I would be using? And the stringing file, let's print that to the screen so that we can see what we are actually reading. And inside my panda file, I'm gonna make some changes. So let's make some silly text. We have created a bunch of, it's fun, isn't it? Doesn't really matter, it's just testing. And let's now test it, and I'm gonna save my level. Doesn't really matter, it's just testing. Okay, let's click play. And you can see, um, I hope you have seen it. Let me adjust the time to something like 10 seconds so that you can see it easier. And we have created a bunch of pandas. It is working. And now I'm going to change the text so that to prove it extra proof doesn't really matter. You can literally I like sports. I play with dolls. Doesn't matter. And you can have it even in a multi-string like I just have. And play. And you can see it is doing just fine. Okay, that's the first function which we have successfully implemented. And now let's go to the other one, which is going to be pretty similar. And I don't have to save this. So I'm going to close the project. And the other, or should I say, the next function that I want to expose is save string to file. And let's proceed. Let me see where it is. So this is the one that we have already implemented, and this is the one that we are gonna implement right now. So I'm gonna copy paste the whole contents between curly brackets, paste that below. So I'm gonna give it a couple of empty spaces, Control V. And now, just like before, we have to change this part, replace it like this, copy and paste. By the way, this is the same, just like with your sample function that you get once you create your plugin. Anyway, CPP part is done, and let's proceed with the H part. And let's select these two strings. So this is the save string to file, Control C and Control V, save, and all should be fine. By the way, you can also change category, keywords, metadata, tooltip, etc. But I'm probably gonna save that for another video. Anyway, we are done with the code part, and let's click on compile. And just like before, give it a couple of seconds to recompile. Okay, it is done. Our project is open. Let's see if I have, okay, I gotta reopen my level and open the blueprint. So we have load string from file, and we are gonna have now save string file. Nice. Okay. So in order to test this in a more nice way, I would say, I have to do one thing, and that is to enable input. Input. No, I'm actually gonna do it like this. Enable input get player controller. Okay, I'm gonna untie this. So now I will be able to use my keyboard keys in order to test these nodes, and I'm gonna L key, type in L key. Where is my L key? So on L press, it's going to load the file, and on, I don't know, K press, it's gonna save the file. K key, and I'm going to connect that. Now it's gonna be very similar. I can use this node, and I can even promote this to variable so that I have it constant like this. I mean, it's like oxymoron, you have it constant, but you have a variable. Anyway, excuse my humor. And so we need to define what we want to save. And for example, let's get the time. So get time now, or time now. Yeah, like this. And I can stretch it like this or split it. And I'm gonna save current minutes and I'm gonna say minute, enter space, and seconds, like that. So what we are gonna be saving to the file is the current minute value and seconds value. And after that is done, let's print something as success. Print string, change the color to green because green stands for success. Compile, save, and save, file saved. Okay, and now once I go inside the game, I'm gonna be using L to load and K to save, although not the best key bindings in the world, but doesn't matter that much. Let's click on play, load, K. Let me see what's inside my file, and I'm gonna open it. It didn't save. Okay, why it didn't save? Let me show you. Because we have this node, or should I say this parameter, which says allow overwriting. Well, as the name says, if your file is already written, if it already exists, it won't be able to save the text over it. So I have to enable this, compile, save, and test again. Okay, so let's test these functions. And here's my text that should be displayed. Click play, pressing L to display text. I'm a panda, I like sports, I play with dolls. And I'm gonna press K key and file saved. And let me double check if it is indeed saved. It's asking me to reload, and you can see 51 minutes, 6 seconds, and the current time is 51 minutes, and probably it was 6 seconds at the time when I saved. And now let's test it again, and pressing L. Now this time it's gonna read what was actually inside the text, and I'm gonna press K to save, and I'm gonna press L to load. As you can see, we are now loading 51:48, but next time once I test this, I'm expecting to see 52 minutes. So K and L, and as you can see, the first number is minutes, the second number is seconds, and that's it. We have our functions successfully tested and clarified that they are working after debugging. And that's it for this video. I didn't go into depth when it comes to the actual C++ syntax, and this is meant for people who really just want to know how to copy paste a couple of functions here and there to help them with their development. And that's it. Thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.